All right, so we thought we'd do a video on digestive, as well as there's some respiratory organs and digestive organs, or digestive, respiratory, urinary, reproductive. So we're going to go over this so you have this to help you study. This whole structure is the larynx. Inside here is the epiglottis. This out here is your thyroid cartilage made of hyaline. Here is your esophagus. Trachea anterior, esophagus posterior. Esophagus comes down here into the thoracic cavity where there's the lungs. And this is your thoracic aorta. You can tell it's an aorta or an artery because of how sturdy it is. This here is your inferior end of your esophagus. That's got to go through the diaphragm to the stomach. Speaking of the diaphragm, we have that here. And then we have the liver here. This is all from a hog. Now with the liver usually is the gallbladder, but the way they cut it, the gallbladder's here. Okay, so it was cut funny, but it usually, as you saw with the cats, attached to the liver. All right, so then we're going to go to some digestive organs. So this is your stomach. All right, I'm going to turn it this way. This is your greater omentum. Make sure you ask Dr. Lipscomb about that in class. Here is the very inferior end of the esophagus going into the stomach. So this is your gastroesophageal junction. You will look at this under the scope in histology, seeing stratified squamous going into simple columnar. This first area of the stomach is your cardia. That's where heartburn happens. Fundus up here, body, pylorus. At the end of the pylorus region is a very thick area. You could feel that. That's your sphincter. And that goes into the duodenum or duodenum. Also up here is the spleen. So once you do the duodenum, it's hard to tell differences in the small intestine, because you can tell where the duodenum is, you can tell where the ileum is, but you really can't tell which is the jejunum or the ileum. So what you can tell is all this, which is your mesentery. Now to find the ileum, what you need to do is, and here it is right here, you find where it goes into the cecum. So here's the last part of the small intestine. Small intestine is small diameter, large intestine is large diameter. This goes into the cecum, ileocecal junction, cecum here. Okay? So that's the only way to find where the ileum is. Other than that, you can't tell any other part of the large intestine until we look at the very end here, and this is the anus. Now, next to the anus, right before that, would be the rectum. So if we had something pointing here, that's rectum and anus, anal orifice. This is the vulva, external female genitalia, and the orifice there. On this side then, that would be the vagina. All right. Now, as we look at this, we also see urinary bladder. And the vagina comes up to here where it gets very thick. That's the cervix. And then here's your uterus. With the uterus, unlike humans and pigs and cows, they have uterine horns. Okay, that's to produce litters or more than one. So all this is uterine horn. At the end of the horn, you have a fallopian tube, which is right here, or an oviduct, as they call it as well, very small tube. At the end of that tube, you have an ovary. And that's all I have for you today.